Hello, everyone. My name is Molly, and this is Dalton Keane. We are both ITA alumni. We did the online program a couple of years ago. So right now, we're living in Valencia, Spain, and we teach with the Language and Cultural Ambassador program, which is sponsored through the government. We are on our second school term teaching, and life is pretty good. I'm really happy to be here with all of you, and I'm excited to answer any questions that you might have. How is everyone? Oh no, not everyone's getting audio. Oh good, okay, great. It's early in Chiang Mai. We lived in Chiang Mai before this, so I completely understand, but I'm sure it's at least good to be in Chiang Mai. How easy is it to work outside the ambassador program? What do you think?
To work outside the ambassador program, it's pretty easy, I think. We both do tutoring, like private tutoring outside of the program. I tutor one of the teacher's daughters who's actually like an adult. So I teach an adult. We do business English after a lot of their assistants post flyers for private classes and things. And then also you can work online. That's becoming really, really popular, really good way to make money, especially if you live in Spain because the hours are so good. The assistant program is different for each region of Spain. In our region, we work 16 hours a week, which I know is a lot, but that leaves us a full day every week, full weekday every week to work outside of the program. So it's easy to manage schedules, and it's also easy to find work.
Yeah, and so someone asked here too how we found our tutoring gigs, and I mean it's almost hard not to, because a lot of teachers and parents will approach us at the schools we work at. And how did you find your
Yeah, someone approached me. I actually haven't advertised at all, and I've had multiple parents approach me. And I've actually kind of limited it because of doing other things. So finding tutoring is easy. Yeah. They find you basically. And
average pay, what are you being?
15 euros an hour, between 15 and 20. I think it depends a lot on how much you have to prepare. For example, the girl I teach is like 28 or 29 years old, and so she doesn't need much preparation. I might charge a little bit more, or try to do like a small group of 2 or 3 kids and charge maybe 20 euros or 25 euros for an hour.
And for me, I actually have sort of an agreement with one of my teachers. So we do a little intercambio where we speak English for half the time and Spanish for half the time. So there's really no payment involved because it benefits me too. The program, the program this year started in October, is that right?
It always starts in October.
It always starts in October. Last year was a little bit different, only specifically in Valencia, but nowhere else is like that, so October.
The online and the application process is open now until April 15th.
Yeah, so
you can apply now
there,
to the Spanish program for next year.
And hearing back from them about the application is, it takes patience. I honestly can't remember. It took us probably the first time when we first applied, it was like 2 or 3 months. Is that right?
Yep.
And then when we renewed, it's a lot faster. Renewals here back much quicker than first years. Let's see. Did you know Spanish before you taught in Spain? It is recommended to definitely do that, and I recommend it, but I didn't. And every day is a learning process.
Yeah.
So
we took some online classes in Spanish. There are some online courses you can take, and then we also did the apps like Duolingo and Memrise and things like that. But we definitely had to learn when we got here. But that was actually a really good way that we met our friends. We got involved in group Spanish lessons as soon as we got here, and we learned Spanish. I mean, relatively quickly when you're around it all day in schools, and that's how we actually met all of our friends. We're in group Spanish classes, so you don't. It's not mandatory to know Spanish, but from personal experiences, I would recommend learning some Spanish because it's definitely useful, especially in Valencia.
Yeah, and at the schools specifically, it's just to make relationships. So let's see. Yes, you can apply if you don't have your certificate yet. That's no problem. So just go ahead and apply now if you're interested.
A link to apply. We could get in a link.
We'll get it. I can get in a link. I don't know technically how that would work. I did put a link in my visa article, which is on the ITA website, I believe. Otherwise, if I can do this retroactively, I can include a link here. But sorry, I just read one that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so Zoe asked on here if there is work available in the countryside. And yes, most of the jobs for this program are in the countryside. And a lot of people want to be placed in cities and aren't placed in cities. So yeah, the most likely situation is that you would be on the outskirts of a city or in rural communities.
When you apply for the program, they ask you your preferences on cities to live in, and then they also ask you your preference on size of cities. For example, you can say you want to live in a city more than 100,000 people, less than 100,000, less than 50,000. I think there's a less than like 10,000 option for people who want to live exclusively in the countryside in small pueblos and small towns. So that's an option for the program, definitely. And I think that there's a high demand because not a lot of people want to. So they would want you to live in the countryside for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are lots of awesome questions on here, and if I'm missing some, I will try to go back and answer. But so someone asked about long-term goals, and I think that's just such an interesting question because we came here when we didn't have a great long-term goal. So after university, we both started these jobs, him as an accountant and me as an account manager in advertising. And we realized that wasn't sort of the route that we wanted to take. So now we've been having talks about what we're more interested in and different goals that we want to pursue. So I guess the answer to that is that it's given us a better outlook on our long-term goals, and we're still sort of figuring it out. But the level of education, we both had our bachelor's degrees and 1 year of work experience.
And a TEFL from it.
And a TEFL, yes, of course.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Super easy to find, clean, affordable housing. It depends on, I guess, kind of what you're looking for, but there's a neighborhood for everything. There are quiet residential neighborhoods, and then there are the neighborhoods in the trendy, younger areas where all the clubs are. We live in a pretty quiet area just because we'd rather go somewhere we want to be and then, live in a place that's more quiet and calm. Yeah.
I think that's from all of the cities we've we've visited in Spain. They all sort of have a similar sort of structure. You can find what you want, where you want to live. It wasn't too difficult. There are websites. It's very 21st century. All of the apartments and things we found, we set up appointments online. There are multiple websites. And then, we just went and visited a few and found one we liked, and it didn't take that long, to be honest.
I just saw it. Thank you, Christy, for posting that link. That is awesome. Is the Spanish program everywhere in southern Spain? I believe so, right? Because
sorry, can you read what's the one?
Is the Spanish program available everywhere in southern Spain?
Yeah, in Andalusia.
Yep,
it's one of the selections.
Yeah, you can select by region, and then within that region, there are just so many different cities that they'll place you in. But since it's a government program, they're very inclusive. And so, yeah, I think everywhere in
Yeah,
Southern
there.
Spain.
You might have heard stories. There are a few regions that have problems with the program that they'll take a year off. I think in Catalonia, in the Barcelona region, they took a year off a few years ago, and I've heard about it a few other places, but I'm not sure if. But I think, in southern Spain, it's almost. I think it's like the strongest program. So I think that southern Spain has it. I think.
So I've seen a few questions come in about getting hired in Spain, kind of apart from this program. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure, just because the reason we did this program as Americans is that it's the easiest and surest way to find work and to get a visa prior to coming. So otherwise, I think it would be pretty difficult to stay more than 3 months without doing this program. I know there are other programs, but I'm just not as familiar with those ones.
There are other programs called BEDA, B-E-D-A, and a few others. And then a lot of people teach online, and then they try to find work. It's harder to do the visa, but there are ways. It's just more expensive and many more loopholes.
Yeah. So, and I'm kind of looping back to what I said before, but you can't. So what we did was we did get an NIE before we came. It was part of our visa, but this was the only way we knew of getting that NIE before we came, and we had the job before we came. The program that we're doing doesn't provide a lot of support with housing. They do provide insurance, so that's all taken care of. You get your insurance card about a couple weeks after you begin working. The bank, we did have to do ourselves as well. Phone company, same. But luckily, it's easier here to set things like that up than other places. So for example, a phone company, all I had to do was go into a convenience store, get a SIM, and pop it in my phone. And I had 10 gigabytes of data. So most of these things, they can seem kind of daunting, but if you break it down into little steps, it's so easy to get going. And then after a couple months here, you forget that they were ever, even things in the first place. So someone asked if we could pick where we go. We were lucky in that we did want to go to Valencia, but not everyone can pick specifically where. It's sort of a lottery system where you choose your first, second, and third choices. And then they kind of look at what everyone requests, and they try to match it up as best they can. But of course, not everyone can have their first choice.
And then you get placed in a school. They give you a region in a school, and they send you it's called a carta. It's like a letter basically saying this is your school, and you can say yes, I want that, or no, I don't want that. And if you reject their letter, that is it for the year. You can apply the next year, but there's nothing wrong with it. You can just say no, I don't want to live in that your selection.
Right, exactly. Here we make 1,000 euros, which is roughly 1,200 US dollars. But we also work VIP Kid, so an online teaching company on the weekends. So that's pretty large additional source of income. So
and the cost of living is much lower than most of the cities in America. So factor that in.
Yeah.
You want to talk about budgets, or while we're on the subject of money? No.
I think I just want to cover a couple others because we got 46 messages coming in. So you don't, for this specific program, it's different than what we've done before, but you don't need prior teaching experience. Of course, it's helpful, but this program is definitely more of an assistant role than a sort of taking on the whole class. You're more supporting the primary English teacher, which has its pros and cons. But this is a great first ESL gig to start off with. The people are incredibly welcoming, and it's just kind of easy to figure out where you fit in. So it's this program, you don't need to have a bachelor's degree, but you do need to either be in your junior or senior year or have a degree already. Unfortunately, they won't accept freshman or sophomore in university. Okay, our daily life. This is a fun one. It definitely differs from day to day, but usually it's wake up, take the train or bus to school, have coffee with the teachers, teach some classes. He's lucky he gets to go home at...
I work from 9 to 1 every day.
9 to 1.
9 to 1, and that's it. And then I come home and work online or tutor, and I work Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1 is my schedule.
And I work, my schedule's all over the place, but somewhere in the day I usually have about 3 hours of a break. And then I come back for 1 or 2 more classes. But I use that 3 hours to go to a coffee shop or go home or do something constructive, get some stuff done. So yeah, after that, it's pretty cheap to go out around here. So sometimes we'll make dinner here, but a lot of times we'll go out for tapas or drinks, just because it's always so nice out here that we'd rather spend that time outside. So this college. I answered that. Okay, so maybe we should have talked about budgeting. I do feel like I definitely make enough money to get by here. Mm-hmm. I think it all depends on, you know, your lifestyle and how much you want to save. We are able to live super comfortably and save some money. Of course, that is with our side job of working online, but very comfortable. I would recommend saving $2,000 to $3,000 for a deposit and for living money. And sometimes the government is slow in paying you for the first month or two. We've never not been paid, but it's been slow. So you want to prepare for the worst. Yeah, the link is above in the chat box. We are actually not here on a work visa. We're here on, there's a specific visa for this program. It's a language and cultural ambassador program visa, kind of a mouthful, but it's a separate visa, but it has a lot of the same requirements as a student visa. The visa process between Thailand and Spain. So yeah, I won't get so much into the visa process in Thailand, but I will say that there's the same amount of bureaucracy. There's it can just take patience some days, but I would say it's not as daunting as it is in Thailand, because here it's just waiting in an office, whereas in Thailand, I remember, I don't think you had to do this, but I had to camp out at an office so that I could be in when they opened. It was crazy. But the visa process is, I don't know, would you say it's similar or?
Okay, so it's a lot different. So the Spain visa is going to be a lot more upfront. You need to have your background check and your all of your medical certificates and things like that all up front. And you give all of your certificates and all the things you collect, which takes a little bit more time. You give that to the consulate in your region. You have to find where you are, depending on where you live in America. Give it to them, and then you wait about 3 weeks and then send it back. I think the Thailand visa we applied for a longer tourist visa, which was a lot less, you didn't need as much stuff. And so we gave that to them immediately, and they gave it back, and then we had to do more things once we got to Thailand, which was stressful because we didn't know exactly what we needed. The thing about the Spanish one is you know exactly what you need. And there's a list, and people have done it before, so there's blogs and things that'll help you. And you give it all to them at once, and you just wait and get it back. And so I think it's easier because you know exactly what you need. So it was a lot different. And yeah.
So I've seen a couple questions come in about age restrictions. I think that somewhere I read that there is an age restriction, but that we know, we both know people.
I know there's a WhatsApp group for specifically people in our program that do the assistant and they're over 50 years old. So I know that there are people that do it. I think that it's free to apply. So if you want, you can apply. And if they say no, then you're not wasting any money. You're not getting your visa started and things. So I think that people do it. I don't know exactly because it didn't pertain to us,
just because we don't have personal experience.
But I know people who are here that are over 50 years old in our city. So
apply. I mean, I would definitely.
I really don't think that they care that much. I think that it was written down one time and it's just sort of this old rule, but I think it's fine.
And also, I mean, they need teachers. So maybe originally they had some antiquated rules and now they're like, okay, well, we need English-speaking teachers. We can't put, caps on these kinds of things. So,
okay.
I don't know if Madrid is an easy city to get placed in. I think.
Yeah, it is the biggest by far. So people will, especially when Barcelona isn't an option. Some years it is, some years it isn't. So if it's not, then Madrid is way bigger than all the other cities combined. So so a lot of people do. There are a lot more schools, but a lot more people do choose Madrid. I think if you want to live in Madrid or around Madrid, you will. But I don't know if you'll get placed close to the city or where you'll want to live because it's so big. So I've heard of people, their school is maybe an hour away from Madrid and they live in Madrid and take the bus. But if you want to live in Madrid, there's a good chance you can.
Yeah. Were you interviewed afar via internet or phone? Nope, there was no interview process. They place you in a school and you show up, and in some cases you don't even have much contact with the school until the day you arrive. But that's part of the fun, right? So, no, we didn't have a separate trip to Spain or anything. Once you're accepted, and you have a school, and they'll give you an address so you can plan on where to live and things like that.
And a teacher reached out to both of us from the school. I think that someone gets assigned, so it's...
Yeah, I just thought it was important to mention that doesn't always happen, but it doesn't mean that something got messed up. It just means that sometimes the schools are slow to respond, or
Traveler scope the area. I've been to Spain before, like in university, but no, we hadn't.
Here, no.
We had lived abroad before, so it wasn't that. It was a lot less culture shock than living in Southeast Asia. So we got here to Valencia, and it was very, very similar to things we experienced. So it was we just knew there was a good beach and weather, so it was fine.
Yeah.
You could syllabus provided by syllabus.
The syllabus is that's a great question as well. And again, I'm sorry to keep saying this so much. It probably differs from school to school. For me, my teacher has lessons ready, and I just sort of supplement, sometimes do activities, sometimes take over something he's planned, but I don't do any planning myself. And you're not supposed to in this program, but...
Well, the syllabus is provided by the government, so they have already made things that they need. So
yeah.
Well, the syllabus is the thing, but as far as like lesson planning, day-to-day things, I do lesson plan for every class. That's not normal, but you don't have to make the syllabus. You don't have to decide what they need to learn. They will tell you, this week we need to learn about animals, and so you just have to make something like that, for example.
The grade level is primary for this.
In Valencia.
In Valencia.
Yeah, there are other programs you can list what you want to teach. A primary school, a secondary school, or an older school, a high school, and so you can decide. We both teach in primary schools. Different regions do have high schools and middle schools.
Yeah, and primary, the scope can be a little different, but for us that is ages 5 through like 12. Would you say?
Yep.
Yeah. So we didn't actually pay for the program. We just paid for visa fees. All things considered, it was about $250. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. but paying for background checks, visa fees, things like that. But the program itself, you're being paid, so you shouldn't have to pay for the actual program.
You apply to the program if you're not a native speaker. I think you should reach out to your the consulate in your area. I'm not sure if you have a United States passport. I'm sure it would be okay, but I don't know for sure. You might need to reach out. There's a regional coordinator for this program for each consulate. We went to Chicago. You can email the guy in Chicago and ask him. For SAT or filters. Yeah, there are some. I don't know any.
Wait,
but
we should read the question. Is there or have you found a lot of call for SAT or TOEFL tutors?
We have a friend that does things like that. We don't. I don't know any because we work in primary schools, and so I don't see a lot of kids that are studying for those. But,
yeah.
Maybe in other.
Transportation is really easy. They've got trains, buses, Uber, and they also have Cabify, which is Uber as well. So
fantastic.
Transportation is amazing. We don't need a car.
It's about $1.50 for every trip, and you can get month cards, or you can get more things, and that's in Valencia.
Yeah. Public bikes.
Public bikes, like rent the bikes subscriptions. The transportation is fantastic, it really is.
I don't think so. Someone asked if this program, like, if you would make enough money if you bring a family and only one person is working. I don't think. I mean, I guess it depends if you're also working online on the side, but. I don't necessarily know if it would be enough for a whole family. But also I don't have a family, so it's hard for me to answer that question. But of course I understand, you got to figure those things out, of course.
Yeah, we get paid 1,000 euros. We each pay rent about 250 euros, groceries 100 euros. So if you can make the rest of it up with the rest of your family, then I guess, but that's tough.
Yeah. Just to clarify, you need to either have a degree or be working toward one, a bachelor's degree. So I mentioned it briefly before, but they require that you are either in your junior or senior year of university, or you already have a degree. The name of the program, oh, don't worry, I'm late for everything. So the name of the program is the Language and Cultural Ambassador Program. You'll see people refer to it a lot in its Spanish name, which is the Auxiliar de Conversación program. Oh, Stephen, I worked at Dara. That's crazy. And yes, I did. I was there for a year. Yeah, you'll have to let me know in the chat where you work. Small world.
The online job is called VIP Kid. There are tons of online jobs. We teach Chinese kids. There's also more Chinese programs that are all about the same. Go Kid, Q Kids, Magic Ears. There's tons. I think ITA has a full page about just online teaching. So
yeah. The program does not provide housing. You do have to find housing. The inscrita number, for the first time, I think it mattered because it is the order of which they respond to people. So it does. But at the same time, the numbers are crazy, like 3,000, and then 1,000 of those people drop out. And so I wouldn't be intimidated by a high number, but it is the order.
We had a friend that was a very high number, and he got placed in Valencia as well. So I think it just depends.
Yeah. School year is from October to June.
End of May. June 1st,
Right. Sorry, June 1st. Okay. Were you impacted by the wildfires in Spain last summer?
Not really.
Here, no.
The air quality wasn't too bad. It was farther south, but our friends, like villages, were affected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Can couples get placed in the same town? Yes. That was a thing for us, we needed to be placed in the same town or we weren't going to do this. When you apply as partners with someone else. They have to apply separately and then also acknowledge you as their partner, and then they'll place you together. So it's possible that it could put down, it could cause your preference to go down because they're working to keep you together, but they will keep you together. So that's awesome. Easy to travel to Portugal, Andorra, France. Super easy. Yes.
Super cheap flights. We took a flight to Portugal for $20. And did a road trip. It was really easy.
Come on, you Spurs.
Where do you see that? Hey, yeah. See my Spurs shirt?
Yeah. How much can one expect to make a month with the program and doing online work on the side? General figure. We try to keep some days open to go out or take trips. Generally, we make $600 on top of the 1,000 euros. So total in US dollars, it's about $1,800.
$1,800 to $2,000. Yeah, $1,800 to $2,000. It just depends on how much you want to work. We worked a lot right when we started, and we started to ease off because we have a little bit of a cushion now, and so we do take days off. And yeah, it's just really, really cheap to live here.
Taxes.
Good question.
Let's try to simplify this one.
The taxes thing is a little bit complicated. I don't want to spend too much time. There are things online you can find. There's a website called Greenback Taxes, and I think that's like it's an expat taxes thing. If you live outside of the United States, you don't pay taxes on the money that you make outside the United States if you're making as much as we are. So it's all called foreign income. So you don't have to pay it. We haven't paid taxes in like 4 years. You need to file your taxes, but we don't end up having to pay it.
You end up at zero, and it's still a pain, but at least you don't have to.
After you do it the first time, it's easier.
So Savannah asked here if there's anything that you both had that made you stand out from others who applied and didn't get it. I think that if you are sorry, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. If you are one of the first people to apply and you tick all their boxes that they require for this program, you're in. It's not so much. So I mentioned that we were in Thailand before this, and there it was traditional. We applied at schools and we interviewed at schools, but for this government program, it's very much straightforward. If you've got your documents in and all the requirements, then you're good to go. Can you talk about this? Yes, we are in Valencia. I don't know anyone who's brought their dog here.
Oh yeah, that's gotten brought up before. I think that you need to find out like puppy passports and things like that.
Vaccinations.
We don't have one. There are people who have done it, I know, but I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, I've been getting puppy fever, and we've been looking at bringing dogs home, but I don't know so much about bringing them here. In the off season, so when school ends and we're here for the summer, we just teach online. There's no vacation pay, but it's all free time. So
the visa extends. We have a visa. We end school in May, and our visa is until the middle of July, and then you start the renewal process, and so you can stay here. And yeah, we work online. The hours are really good, because the Chinese kids are taking classes at night. It's like during the day in Spain. So we work online a normal time, like 10 to 4, and then we just hang out and travel.
Spanish students. This is a fun one. Every day is different, and kids are the same everywhere I've been in the world so far. So there are days, when they're lunatics, and then there are other days when they are just the biggest sweethearts. Of course, motivation, I think, differs from one student to the next, based on, a lot of times it's based on how much their family values learning English, because the students who don't have as much motivation, when I talk to them about it, they kind of say, well, my mom says I don't need it, or something like that. So, you know, it's tough. But the kids who want to learn, they're incredible, and they're so excited that you're there and that they have a native English speaker to talk to. And as far as the atmosphere, I have to say, like, these kids are, English aside, these kids are super creative, and like the culture is just so present, you know, constantly with their singing and their dancing and their art, and it's just, I love them all. Like,
that's exactly what I would say too. It's a lot different. We were in Asia before, and the things that they really valued were a lot different than the things that they value here. So it took a little bit to get used to, but it is, to see them and their creativity is great.
Somebody mentioned there's no Uber in Barcelona. They did. They had some taxi strikes and they stopped it there. Luckily, we still have it here for the time being.
Lots of problems with taxis.
We heard about that.
Some transcripts. Yeah, good question.
Did we submit those online?
I think we did. I think we had. I think in the application process, you submit your degree or transcripts. Do most English schools have a preference for American British accents? They're different. A lot of schools, English schools have a preference between English accents or American accents. It depends. I think that usually they want British accents because it's so much closer, but I just always write and say everything in both, in English, in American English and British English, just because I don't know what they want. And so after a while, it just becomes second nature. You just write them both and say both of the things.
Our textbooks are British English, but I tell them this is correct and this is correct, and everyone will know. Any English speaker will know what you're talking about if you say trousers or pants. So
as far as accents, I don't think it's a big deal.
Accents.
They'll take whatever they can get. So
they don't care.
Advanced business English on the side. Do you know anything about teaching advanced business English on the side? Not really. I'm teaching a girl who's a chemist, which is interesting. That's as close as I know. There are business English schools in Valencia and all over Spain. I think they are more prominent in Madrid and Barcelona because they're more financial capitals.
Benefits through our school, we have health insurance. The health insurance is great. We haven't had to pay for anything except a couple euros for medicine after going to the doctor. It's wonderful.
No dental, but the dental is so cheap.
Dental's so cheap.
I think you got free.
Yeah, our dentist here, the first visit is free, so I haven't had to do anything. We're paid monthly.
1,000 euros a month, so $1,200 a month.
The background check should be done before you are accepted.
You'll need to get fingerprints. You can do it from abroad. You're in China. You can do it from abroad, but you'll need to get fingerprints and send it, and it will take a little bit more time.
So let's finish it. I think the level of Spanish I'd recommend is B1. If you're at B1, I was not at B1, but I think if you are at B1, it would be really easy to bump it up quickly with everyone speaking to you there. And somebody asked earlier, I think I forgot to answer, they asked how long it took to develop working proficiency in Spanish. And I personally feel like it took me a little longer, maybe 8 months to a year to feel like I could have a conversation and speak and understand. But for a lot of people, it comes way faster. I've witnessed that.
If you come with B1, that will be fine. Absolutely.
And they know people are so they're great about that.
There will be an English teacher or 2 or 3 at your school that will always help you to translate and handle everything. So even if you don't have a B1, if you have no Spanish at all, there will be someone to help you that will speak English.
Right. Schools are...
Good question. About conservative towards dress and piercings. Absolutely not. I have tattoos and I don't cover them. teachers at my school have like purple hair and piercings, and no one says a thing. Yeah, I think that you should maybe go and ask the first day, and after that, they'll just be like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It's kind of come as you are.
And as far as dress goes, usually the women wear jeans and like tennis shoes, and then depending on the weather.
This is what we wore to school today. So
yeah,
it depends on it's where. Yeah, it's fine.
It's very relaxed. Yeah. The ambassador program that so we have done this ambassador program for over a year. Our first year was a little weird, as we mentioned.
We started last January.
As did everyone in Valencia, and then we renewed our contracts and worked the full year, so like a year and a half.
Do you know anyone working on a U.S. military base? Your friend did that.
But here.
But I don't know anyone here doing that. No, sorry.
I had a friend who did in Japan, but yeah, probably won't help a lot here.
Are there good jobs in Catalonia, and is it difficult to understand the language difference between Catalonia and Spain? That's something that we deal with every day. Catalan and Valenciano are like very close to the same.
So we should back up. Valenciano is another language different from Spanish.
Right, that most people speak here. So if you have to ask them, please speak Spanish, because they'll speak like a Catalan or a Valenciano language. It's not that much different. It's just a little bit different. There are good jobs in Catalonia, yep. But I don't know that much.
Yeah. So just to clarify from earlier, the pay is $1,200 per person. Yeah. And if you have to leave before the year is up, are there any consequences?
Not really.
No, they just probably won't hire you the next year. And of course, they stop paying you when you leave, but nothing. Yeah, we know people who have done that. Yeah, and there was something else that I wanted to answer. Let's see. Oh, we already did. So I'm sorry, I actually don't know much more about my friend working on the military base in Japan. She did this, it was sort of a summer camp on the military base. This was 4 or 5 years ago, and she just lived in Japan for a summer. She was provided housing and it was Camp Adventure. Oh yeah. That's right. Okay. You're making an additional 601 to What is that? 600? No. So when I said the additional 600 a month on top of our pay, that is per person. So each of us is making between $1,800 and $2,000 US each month. Prescription meds are easy to access. You do need to have a doctor.
Yep.
But if you have a prescription in wherever you're from, then you can bring it, show it to a doctor, and they will transfer your prescription here. And
yeah, they're much more strict with prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs than we're used to in America. But it's not that hard. And seeing a doctor is free, and it takes 15 minutes. So if you have something wrong, you need a prescription, it really is really fast. You can get it that day. So it's
yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, wait, can you add like 99 more?
I know, I thought so. Oh, wait.
No.
Sorry, we are still learning about Zoom chat.
Why did you go
I'm sorry. Okay, how widespread are language institutes that focus on advanced or older students? Usually those who preparation for university entrance prep. That's a very good question. Sorry.
I don't know that much. I don't know that much about it. I haven't prepped anyone for testing. There are a lot of teachers that need to take a language test. I think they get like a raise or some sort of it. So there are teachers that are looking to pass English exams. But I just advertise myself as anything from preschool to adult. So, and then just go from there. We don't work for language institutions. So
Yeah.
but they're everywhere. Language institutes are everywhere, like on every corner. So there are tons. Yep.
Are you able to take a couple days off if needed, or is calling out of work difficult? This is interesting because at both of our schools, they're very understanding, and we can take days off when we need it. I've taken off days when my family visited, when I was sick, when my flight was canceled, and there were never any issues at all. But at the same time, so there's a really large Facebook group and WhatsApp group for the current assistance ambassador, sorry, whatever word you want to go by, in Valencia. And they talk about how some schools are a little more strict, but I think that either way, they're going to understand if something comes up.
Yeah, I think setting a good precedent at the beginning and working hard right away and getting on your good side with everyone and getting good with the director, then they'll be very lenient.
Yeah,
I mean,
showing them
teacher,
that you
so,
take it seriously and you're not just on vacation in Spain.
So I think a good thing is just work hard right away, and then if you need to take some days off, they'll let you make it up later. Yep.
So someone asked about Marta asked about the transfer of money. We use, I guess we sometimes use PayPal, but when we're transferring big amounts of money, I'm typing in TransferWise, it's a pretty small percentage that they take, and so it seems to be the best option. That's what everyone here does when they transfer money. Right.
And we're still getting paid from the Chinese job into our American account, and so we just kind of split it that way. We don't transfer very often, right, because of the fees. So we just use all of our money from Spain, all of our money from our Chinese job in American accounts, and if we buy something on Amazon, we use that credit card. Yep. So it's easy.
So Joel asked how the online teaching experience differs from the classroom. I think it is wildly different. I think so. In terms of preparation, I think it's a lot easier online because you can wake up and have your coffee, change your shirt, and just start teaching. It's a pretty simple process, and the lessons are laid out for you. And the students, their parents are paying for them to be there. So for the most part, they're attentive and they're interacting with you, and working in a classroom, of course, is a little bit more chaotic. It's public schools, so you've got some kids who don't want to be there, but at the same time, it's more exciting. You gain these like really great bonds with your students.
There's more freedom to do different things. Like I like putting on music or doing different things that I like, and working online is very structured and kind of gets repetitive after a while. And that's what in the classroom you can always do whatever you want. So that's do
you have a preference between
Southeast Asia and Spain? Oh, we've been asked this so many times. That's very tough. That's really tough. I guess you always have rose-colored glasses.
Yeah,
you always like looking back.
Nostalgic toward Chiang Mai.
Yeah, of course I'll always love Thailand. But I will always love Spain too. So that's tough. Yeah. No, I don't. I do prefer being able to drive in Southeast Asia. Not having a motorbike here has been tough. But what are you gonna do?
I think. I don't know. I go back and forth. I kind of liked how fun and kind of gritty, and of course how cheap it was in Chiang Mai, and just the people are incredible. I'll never forget that. But Spain has its own kind of beauty and history, and I'm sorry. I always want to give an answer for that question, and I go down a rabbit hole of pros and cons. C level 1 in English and a bachelor's degree.
I think there are programs. There is this program for people from Germany. I don't remember exactly what it is. You probably have to do a Google search, but I do think that there are ways to do this program if you are of C1 level.
Yeah, and also there are some, I know they said a large portion of the people doing the program here are from the Philippines. And so I think, I mean, I know their English is typically
perfect, yeah.
Perfect,
mm-hmm.
But I guess I don't know if that counts as
it's a different program. It's the same program, but it's through a different
like outlet or
right, exactly. So I think you'd have to find it. I don't know exactly. You can start teaching online now. You can start teaching online now. I think that having your TEFL will make it easier, definitely, but I don't think that they will. Actually, I do think that they want TEFLs now before you start. Yeah,
they've become a lot stricter since we started working online. Something about Chinese laws. They sent us an email about it months back. And I think that before being hired on to most online Chinese Asian online platforms, you need to show your TEFL certificate.
Yeah, that's true.
Our future plans. Always a good question and always a scary one.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot lately. I will let you know. I think my mom would like to know that answer too. I don't know what our future plans are.
Yeah, we've discussed we won't be continuing this program because we've been here for 2 years and we're kind of getting antsy again. But we're thinking the decision is, okay, one more place abroad, or move back to the States for a while to spend time with family.
Yep. It's tough being away. We've been away for 4 years now, so it's hard. Every time we go back, it seems like we're missing things. So
yeah. Do you find doing this rewarding? Let me do both quit your job and teach.
Yeah, good question.
Some days I do.
For sure.
I think, and not to deter anyone from Spain, but I do prefer teaching my own classroom and being the head teacher, because again, as I mentioned, I build better relationships with the students, and I find that I can have more control over my creativity, if that makes sense. I can do my own things. And so I remember when we were teaching for the first time in Thailand, it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And it still is. I just have less hands-on activities, I guess, here.
And also, I got to see the same kids every day in Thailand.
Oh, yeah,
so I was really close with them. And I only see the kids once a week here. Like I see every class one time per week. So, which is good because I see everyone in the school, but I do see them less. So it's harder to build those, like the really good relationships. But yeah, it is rewarding. I mean, even outside, like learning Spanish is so helpful. And yeah, it definitely is rewarding. Yeah. We both hated our job, so that was why we quit. And then teaching was like the perfect way to just completely change and try moving and traveling. And so yeah.
And I think teaching for me especially, and I like to talk about this because I want to push other people who are in my position. I was so scared of teaching. I had not done a job that required me to public speak, or I thought it was public speaking. It's not the same thing at all. And it just pushed me, and now I'm just so comfortable and in my element when I'm in the classroom. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I feel like it's crazy the amount of anxiety and nerves you have before your first day and thinking about going to school tomorrow is like nothing.
It's normal. You're just waking up and going to your job.
Right. And you just feel it's just so natural to be in a classroom now. I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's really easy to travel in Spain because we only work 4 days a week. So every week is a 3-day weekend, and sometimes there's more. There's so many holidays in Spain. Spanish people love taking holidays, taking a Monday or a Friday off, and so there's always something going on. And it's super easy to travel. And we took a bus to see our friend for €5 last week, and it was just like it's just nothing. Yeah, it's very, very cheap. There's constant trains, and so it's easy.
Side jobs, I am not sure, because apart from tutoring. It's not legal on our visas, but I don't know what's possible under the table because I haven't tried. So probably I feel like in almost everywhere, you can find those opportunities for side jobs, but I'm not sure.
If you're a bartender or something, I think your Spanish would have to be nearly perfect in Valencia, which if it is fine, but I think that's the expectation. Ours is not perfect, so I don't think.
Nancy asked about working with other programs. We talked about it a little bit before, but we're not sure of the other programs. However, they say that there's an age restriction on this program, but there are still people above the age limit doing this. So you might just want to apply and see what happens.
Good. Okay, one of the most challenging or difficult things about the program and living in Spain, I think the number one thing is the language. And it's just frustrating because I want to talk all the time to everyone. And so when I can't think. So it's the biggest thing. But all of our friends speak English, Spanish, and so. And
you improve, you get better. That's always the way it goes. But definitely my biggest obstacle too is the language. I love old people too, but I don't know that there's an option to teach older people.
We have a friend that volunteers, and she does. Barbara does some things with older people, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't know exactly, but yeah, there's definitely there's opportunities for everything. The city's so big that the cost of rent, we pay $600 between the both of us, so $300 each.
40 years of teaching Spanish 40 years of teaching Spanish and other languages is a lot to have under your belt. That's incredible. So guys, thank you so much. There were so many good questions, and I wish I could talk to each one of you personally, but it was really great to be here today. We do have to hop off and probably get to bed, but enjoy the day that you have ahead of you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
See you.